Get started, there was a camera that was left at the registration table. Anybody needs that camera before we get started, I'll bring it over to you. I'm going to introduce Father Wiggins, the well-known person here. He's going to start us with a blessing.
When I went this summer to be the Catholic IndyCar chaplain in Austin, Texas, and Detroit, Michigan, I had airline trouble both times. They reminded me that you can't always have success or good times. With that as an introduction, we now pray. Gracious God, we gather tonight to induct some of the Aquinas Institute Hall of Famers. Bless all the inductees, guests, and friends to never forget that they must always strive for that for which you made them. Pour out your blessings upon them so that in all hours, the good ones and the bad ones, they will be triumphant. Bless the food and drink we are about to have and enjoy. Amen.
Amen. Before I forget, for anyone who is not here, if you want to let them know, tonight's proceedings are being streamed live on the Aquinas Alumni page. You can access that on the Twitter and Facebook pages. Now, if we would please welcome President Mike Adams to the podium. Good evening. So Father Al gave an example of things not always working out quite right. We changed the agenda slightly. Peter Romeo, who was class of 1951, I'm sure many times had to walk to school to get to Aquinas. Well, our student singers that were going to be here to perform the national anthem in the alma mater are on their way, but they're walking. So something must have happened to the car. We're on our way to pick them up and get them here. So when they arrive, their part will insert them into the evening. So, this is a big event, and to pull off events like this, we need to recognize people that are VIPs and important. And certainly our honorees are important, and we will have plenty of time for that. I'm going to ask some people to stand, and when I do, I'd ask you to just stay standing because there's a bunch of us that will be standing up, but I think it's important to recognize them if they're here. I want to start from people who have in the past or are currently Board of Trustees members for Aquinas Institute or our foundation. Please stand and stay standing, and hold your applause until the end. I'd also ask my partner, Ted Mancini, who is principal, and all other administrators to please stand. All the faculty members of Aquinas that are here tonight, please stand. Our alumni relations team, alumni and development team, please stand and be recognized. Our partners from the Sisters of St. Joseph and our partners from the Basilian Order of St. Basil, Father El, please stand. Thanks, Father El. All prior Hall of Fame honorees that are maybe present here with us tonight, please stand. And special recognition tonight for Chris Strout, who primarily was the major planner for this event. Chris is over here as well. So I want to thank all of you. Give them a round of applause. Well, as I approach my 17th year at Aquinas, I want to let you know I signed up for 7, and it's been 17. But it's been a labor of joy. And over 17 years, we've had this event and many others. And I want to share with you President Daly's Points of pride. Let's call it points of pride. I think it's important. Aquinas Institute is a top-tier college preparatory secondary school in the Brazilian tradition. You know that. 117 years. It's one of the largest and most successful private Catholic institutions in the state of New York. Something to be very proud of. We have stellar students yesterday, today, and tomorrow. We attract the very best, and we make them better. Our college placement is far and wide. In the inside cover of your program, you can see an example of the class of 2019, where they went and the scholarships they've earned. Our community service teaches our students justice and giving back, which is an important formula for life. It's through giving back and service that we're called often to help the needy and help those that are less fortunate. We teach life skills. That's very important. Tonight, Jim Leo is here with us, retired Chief Financial Officer from Wegmans. 10 years ago, I turned to Jim and I said, Jim, I have a student who can't get an interview at Wegmans. Can you help? Jim said, I can get him the interview, but he has to earn his way. He went on that interview and he failed miserably. When that student came back, I partnered with the English department, the English chair, and our then principal, Dennis Sadler, and we put together a program in the English department that is 10 years strong now. They write a resume. They write a job application. They write a letter application. And they are conducted in a live interview with alumni that volunteer and come back. Our students dress up and they perform and they get graded on that initiative. Very important life skill to be able to do. I'm so proud of that. Aquinas is affordable. It can only be affordable because of our great endowment, which is $22 million and strong now. That helps bridge the gap to families that could not afford the full tuition. We have storied athletics. Every generation knows about successful programs in sports. Section 5 champs, New York State champs, and all of the different sport programs that we have. War heroes like Don Hollander, Major Don Hollander, NHL star, Brian Junta, just to name a few. Commitment to the arts. We have a wide and vast program in the arts where our kids can get involved with dance, theater, painting, drawing. It's so important to be able to have that side of the formula and the equation for our students. And the arts and the athletics give our students a sense of belonging, but also develop skills of teamwork, working hard, and seeing the benefit of that hard work. But it also gets them involved with what they might study in their career and relationships that they develop for their lifetime. But my final daily point of pride is our successful outcomes. And tonight you are going to see successful outcomes from the honorees that we induct into our Hall of Fame. And examples of others are in your back cover of your program. And so sit back, relax, and please enjoy our honorees. And I congratulate you all. Thank you very much.
Now, if we could welcome to the podium class of 2022, Aaron Hay and Abby Riggins. And if you would please rise for the singing of our national anthem.
Hi, I would just like to apologize. Got a little lost and ended up trying to walk here, and that did not end very well. What so proudly we
Please make sure you have out your card with your meal selection and bring it coming around and bring your dinner. Oh, wow. 1979. The members of our first honoree, the 1979 football team, I can tell you they were larger than life. And that wasn't just because of my diminutive stature at the time. Reading their names in the newspaper, watching the highlights on the newscast, and then walking the halls of our alma mater with the likes of Don Dion's, Todd Dawes, John McConnell. That was special times. Those were special times. Led by their Hall of Fame coach, the late Nick Tita, the 1979 team compiled 4 shutouts and outscored opponents by an average count of 17-6. The Maroon and White downed Fairport and their own Hall of Fame coach, Don Santini, by 2 touchdowns. They handed Rush Henrietta Sperry and their Hall of Fame coach, the late Werner Kleeman, a 13-point loss. They defeated Section 6 powerhouse Canisius. They romped to a 17-point win over that school on Clinton. McQuaid. And then they knocked off Eastridge and their own Hall of Fame coach, Jack Christensen, to claim the program's first sectional title. In doing so, that little Irish team put into place a foundation for what is now known as the top high school football program in the entire New York State. And above all that, and this is on a personal note, they have the best baritone in the history of Aquinas, Tyrone Sutherland. Accepting the award tonight, coming up here with me tonight, Mr. Pete Noto and the rest of the 1979 football team. Too good. Nobody will see me otherwise. Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Paul. Once again, my name is Pete Noto, Aquinas class of 81, a member of the 79 varsity football team. I am humbled and honored to accept our induction into the Aquinas Hall of Fame, and we extend our congratulations to the other inductees. As a team, we accomplished something special by winning Aquinas' first Section 5 football title in 1979. Beyond being the first winner of a title, we are also the only AAA champion in school history. The sectionals in football started 42 years ago, and I am proud to say that Aquinas has won 15 titles, 9 in single A and 6 in the largest school category of either AAA or AA. but only one team gets to be first. We are very fortunate to be that team. While we are special, we are not unique, because we are a few. As a team, we were lucky to have some great coaches while we were here at finance. They were tough. They pushed us to be the best players possible and demanded we act with high character on and off the field. We'd like to thank our freshman coach, Jerry McGuire, our JV coaches, Bob Decoy, who's here this evening, and the late John Fazula, and our varsity coaches, Tony Ferrara, Neil Barton, the late Rich Pillar, and our head coach, the late Nick Tita. We are deeply grateful to all of them, and while we are special, we are not unique, because we are a few. As a team, we were blessed with great parents who sacrificed to give us a chance to go to Aquinas. To me, the school has always been the school of opportunity, not of privilege. Our parents taught us to put our nose to the grindstone, not up in the air. We'll take Dewey Avenue over Elmwood Avenue every single time. Our parents and families came together in 1979 and pitched in whenever needed. They were with us every step of the way, and we owe them a huge debt of gratitude. Without their sacrifice, we would not have had our opportunity. While we are special, we are not unique, because we are a few. As a team, we had some good athletes, some great athletes, and one superstar. One of our great athletes, Bob McGee, is sadly no longer with us. Bobby, we know you're in heaven right now with a front row seat. We miss you, brother. Thanks for all you did. As I mentioned, we were lucky to have a superstar on the team, running back Don Dion. Donnie was a phenomenal athlete that never came off the field. He and Dominic DeLucia were a powerful backfield. Donnie was recruited heavily and played D1 at the University of Arizona. Donnie was inducted into the Aquinas Hall of Fame in 2011, and unfortunately couldn't make it there that evening. But he is with us tonight, so let's give him a big round of applause. Now, there was another aspect of our team that I believe needs to be acknowledged, which makes our story pretty special. There's an old saying that it's not the size of the dog in the fight that matters, but rather the size of the fight in the dog. The fact is, we had a number of undersized players that were starters on this championship team. Now, believe it or not, I was a starting guard as a junior. Look at me. I was 5'8" then, 5'7" now, and I'm trending to 5'6". I don't scare anyone. You probably all thought I was the water boy. And you think that's crazy? I tower over the other starting guard who was standing in front here, Pete Tulliola. Hey, Richard, you're standing, right? Poor Donnie. I think he was bigger than all but one of our offensive linemen. Well, we clearly had a bunch of guys on this team who see something much bigger in the mirror than does the rest of the world. While we are special, we are not unique, because we are a few. The 1979 championship game was a hard-fought battle with Easter. That year they had an incredible passing game, and our plan was to keep the ball and control the clock. That day we gained over 300 yards on the ground and played really tough on defense. We won the game 15-14, holding them to their lowest point total all year in front of 10,000 fans at Holiday Stadium. The headline in the DNC the next day summed it up. Aquinas was simply awesome. While we are not special, we are unique. Because we are! A-U. We are! A-U. We are! A-U. We are! A-U. I love it. Thank you very much.
to talk to our next honoree about his role in the largest renovation project in the history of Aquinas Institute. Jim Leo will describe himself simply as a conduit between the late Bob Wegman and the latter's love for his alma mater. Leo, the former Wegman CFO and longtime Aquinas board member, worked closely with Mike Daly and Bob Wegman, outlining the needs for the school. When they finished, Aquinas had a new arts building, a new stadium, new fields, a field house, and extensive renovations were made to the school building. Not a detail was overlooked. Leo was there each step along the way. The St. John Fisher graduate, Jim Leo, spent more than 39 years working for Wegmans. During his time there, he earned distinctions as the Rochester Business Journal's Executive of the Year, the St. John Fisher Accounting Alumnus of the Year, the St. John Fisher Dean's Medal for Outstanding Service, and he was an honorary inductee of the International Business Honor Society, Beta Gamma Sigma. Jim Leo will downplay his role and the impact it has had on the future of our alma mater, but Aquinas owes him a debt of gratitude. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the podium our next honoree, distinguished alumnus, Jim Leo.
Good evening, everyone. First of all, I want to thank the Aquinas community for this great honor, and also congratulate the other honorees tonight for their special contribution to Aquinas. As I looked at a list of past recipients of the Distinguished Alumnus Award, I noticed that, unlike me, they had all distinguished themselves in life in some manner. The very first winner was Mr. Robert Wegman. Mr. Wegman left this world for his heavenly reward 13 years ago. And unfortunately, his wife Peggy passed away 2 weeks ago. They are no longer with us, but they did not leave us before making their mark on all of our lives. I think Mike Daly would agree that Aquinas would not exist as it does today without Robert Wegman's generous financial support, as outlined by Paul. Additionally, Bob's strategic advice of always push forward without fear of failure set the course for the future. I'm proud to say I knew Mr. Wegman well, working for him and with him for 27 years. I can never compare myself to him, but in today's context, he and I had two things in common. First of all, we were both graduates of Aquinas Institute, exactly 30 years apart, and both of our fathers died when we were seniors at Aquinas. Bob became a second father to me, shaping how I thought about the world around me, and I really miss him. I'd like to share two things that I learned from Bob Wegman. Thoughts that say life should be simple, so don't make it complicated. First of all, be humble. No job or task in life is below you, and no one is below you. You must work and live as a team, always giving the team credit for the success and personally taking responsibility for the failures. Mr. Wegman would walk around the stores picking up pieces of paper off the floor and pushing in shopping carts in the parking lot. He was leading by example. Bob did not believe in job titles. Everyone was equally responsible and equally important. He was humble and respected everyone he met. And secondly, always help others. I had the honor of being with Mr. Wegman one night in Philadelphia when he received a national award for his generous $50 million donation to support the Rochester Diocese Catholic School. I'll never forget that night. When some dignitary quipped that Bob looked great in his tuxedo, he looked at the person and nonchalantly replied, "The only thing I'm wearing that I own is my underwear." When it was time for him to receive his award, he walked up on stage in front of 2,500 people to accept it and gave this 32-word speech, and I quote, "I attended Catholic schools, and the nuns always told us the purpose of life was to get to heaven. How do you get to heaven? Help others, and don't worry about yourself." Unquote. He doesn't play the song on his harmonica, and took his seat. So in summary, you need to remember two things tonight. Number one, be humble, and number two, above all, be mindful of the needs of others. Since I cannot play the harmonica, I'm just going to sit down.
Football was not the first choice of our next honoree, but thanks to some straight talk, a Hall of Fame career on the gridiron did occur. Former Little Irish football coach Dave Neiman. Remember the conversation he had with Kevin McMahan, then a sophomore, who aspired to have a career on a hardwood at that time. Neiman recalled, he put it this way, I don't know if I can say this as harsh as Dave Neiman. "Kev, you're a 6'3" forward in high school basketball. You're a dime a dozen." Now, McMahon did start 3 years for the late Mike Iannetti's basketball team. Led the Little Irish to a sectional title and state championship appearance. Kevin McMahon, though, he proved to be a quick study on the gridiron. He showed up for summer workouts the following year, and Neiman figured he would have to be patient with the raw talent of this young student. Little did he know. The first pass thrown in his direction, remember this is during summer camp, first pass thrown in his direction, McMahon cradled it like he had been catching passes his whole life and sped down the field. McMahon went on to earn all-state honors for the 2001 state championship team. He earned a scholarship and played 4 years at the University of Maine. Earned Colonial Athletic Association Rookie of the Year. Set a conference record for consecutive games with 100 yards or more receiving. Set a school record receiving touchdowns in a game, and still ranks top 5 in Maine's history for receiving yards in a game. The Oakland Raiders selected McMahon in the 2005 draft. He spent 4 years in the NFL. And it all started with some straight talk. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the podium from the class of 2002, Kevin McMahan.
First, I just want to say congratulations to all the other honorees and everyone who's inducted tonight. Certainly a prestigious award. I know there's a lot that goes into the voting and the number of excellent people that have gone through the doors and walked through one hallways. So I know there's a job for the principal. We want to say congratulations that's been inducted tonight. Also want to say thank you. There's a lot of people here tonight, and also who are not here tonight, but I would like to say thank you to that. You've been in my corner for a very long time, and has helped me go through the steps that you spoke about and continue to bear another period in my life. My mother was sitting here, my grandmother who's also sitting here. I grew up in the inner city of Rochester, and my mother begged me to go to private school. She wanted me to not go to the public school system and then to get a better education. I was not on board with that decision. It's not something I wanted to do at all. But I trusted my mother and said it was something she did, and I did it. That's ultimately how I feel at that time. Also, Dwayne Mahoney sitting in the back. Dwayne's a mentor of mine, someone I consider to be a friend. He runs the Boys and Girls Club in Rochester, and he's just always been my biggest supporter, someone who's always been a supporter, always giving me really, really good advice, and just kept me on the straight and narrow. friends that are here tonight that I would like to thank as well, because, you know, for me and from where I grew up, I needed a close, knit group of friends that were into positive things, that were doing the right things in their life, that helped me not go down the avenue that I usually could have gone down. John Jimison is here tonight, Chris Coogan is here tonight. I don't want to get emotional because this is something that I think about a lot, because, you know, without getting older, my closest friends that I grew up with when I first moved to the city are right now living there. And it's very, very easily could have been me. So I guess what I want to leave you understanding with, and what I want everyone to know, is that what Aquinas did for me, the platform that it provided for me, coming from the Boys and Girls Club and going to Aquinas, it provided me an opportunity to beat the odds that many people that grow up in the socioeconomic background that I grew up in aren't able to do. There was a family around me, there was positive influences around me, there was close family around me that were always giving me good advice, always keeping me on the straight and narrow. And it's important to know what Aquinas has the opportunity to do and the ability to change lives. My closest friends and the people that I know that are now being in jail, they didn't have those same opportunities, and Aquinas is a big difference for why I did it. And that's so I just want to say thank you to Aquinas. This is very, very important to me. This is very special to me. Aquinas will always hold a huge, huge place in my heart. The Boys and Girls Club will always hold a huge, huge place in my heart. It's something that a partnership and that I hope continues to grow, and I hope this time family continues to do the great things it's done and change other people's lives.
See, I'm still a little bit short. Hold on that microphone. The name Jackie Lacek is synonymous with Aquinas girls soccer. 4-year starter on the Little Irish team, but now Mrs. Jackie Lacek Stafford. Played on 4 state finalists and 3 state champions. So great was her impact on the program one might forget that Jackie also played 3 years of basketball and ran indoor track her senior season. So that one season of track is a good footnote here for everybody. You see, in the first meet in which she participated, Jackie ran the 1,500 meters. She didn't just win the race, the first race, remember? She didn't just win the race. That indoor season, she went on to set 3 more school records in the 800 meters in 2 different relays. But that's all a footnote. Jackie Lacek Stafford, though, made her mark in soccer. Among her lengthy list of accomplishments, and we could be here for a while if I started reading them all off. She was a 3-time All-Greater Rochester performer, including her senior season when she was named AGR and New York State Player of the Year. She scored 59 career goals, collected 148 points, both program records that lasted for 14 years. She went on to play at Division I Central Michigan, where she earned a spot on the Mid-American Conference All-Rookie team her freshman year. She followed that with second-team All-MAC honors the next 2 years before garnering first-team All-Conference as a senior. A member of the Central Michigan University Hall of Fame, she finished her career on campus, leading the Chippewas in career points and career assists. She still holds a program record for most points in a game with 7. And oh yeah, she could show up at her first track meet and set a school record. If you see her wearing Cincinnati Bearcats gear, don't be confused. Her husband Neil is the head women's coach at the University of Cincinnati. Jackie and her husband are still getting back to the game. Please welcome to the podium from the class of 2003, Ms. Jacquelyn Lacek Stafford.
Thank you very much, Mr. Honor.
Induction Committee for giving me this honor. Mike Daly, Christina Mancini, Chris Brown, Jake Paulson, Karen Johnson, and Mr. Mancini. Thank you for everything that you do for Aquinas. Thank you for putting this event on tonight. And thank you for making Aquinas such a special place for all of us. I want to thank Jeff Sage for nominating me. Thank you for all your support that you've shown me while coaching me and then post-career, and all that you've done to believe in me and my career. I want to thank Anthony Cook for taking the time to welcome me back to Aquinas. I was able to meet with him Friday, and he showed me around all the new stuff that has been developed since he graduated. And I just appreciate the time that you spent with me and welcoming me back. It felt good to be home. I want to thank my parents for all the love and support that you've shown me, the sacrifice that you've done to allow me the opportunity to be at Aquinas. I have two brothers who also went through Aquinas too, so it was a big sacrifice for our family, and like Kevin said, the opportunity that you provided for me is something that I'll never forget. So thank you for all the love and support that you've given me. And along that, I want to thank my two brothers for being here too. They're both very athletic as well. My older brother, John Michael, was an actor in golf and participated in golf, and my younger brother was hockey and baseball. They were rough with me when I was growing up, and they helped shape me into the athlete that I am today. So thank you guys for all your love and support throughout my career as well. I'll just leave you with two quick stories. The first story is was mentioned in my introduction. My husband coaches at the University of Cincinnati, and 2 years ago we welcomed Abby Wambach to our campus. She came and spoke with our girls and ran a little clinic for the youth, the local girls in town. And my husband and I met her at the door and walked her into the arena, and he introduced me to her and said, "This is my wife. She's from Rochester, New York." And Abby quickly looked at me and said, "Oh, where did you go to high school?" And I said, "Aquinas." And she said, "Oh, what year?" And I said, 1999 to 02. And she looked at me and said, "Oh, you must have won a state championship." And I said, "I won 3." And she was like, "Oh." She goes, "Well, that's one thing that I never did at Mercy. My biggest regret is that I never won a state championship." I was like blown away because she's a 2-time Olympic gold medalist. She was FIFA World Player of the Year in 2014. She won a national championship at the University of Florida. But what stuck in her mind was that she never won a high school state championship with Mercy. So I said, "I'll trade you one of my medals for whatever you want." But no, I just thought that was really cool, and I took great time in being from Aquinas, and we were there, and we won 3. So, and then my second memory of Aquinas that means a lot to me, obviously our state championships were very prominent in my memory, but it was the one state championship that we lost my freshman year that gives me a great memory. We lost 2-1 in double overtime to West Hill with less than a minute to go, and we all were quiet on the bus ride home. We got off the bus, and I remember my father came up to meet me, and Gary Page was there letting us off the bus and shaking our hands and thanking us for a great season. And he looked at us. My dad said, "Thank you, thanks for a great year, and we'll be back next year," or whatever. And he looked at my dad and said, "If this is the worst thing that these girls are going to experience, then they're in for a good one." And that quote stuck with me then and sticks with me now, and it's just giving me what Aquinas is about. It's more to life than a game of soccer. But I was blessed to be a part of the soccer program for so long and accomplish all that we did accomplish. So thank you again very much for this honor. I greatly appreciate it. So
One of the guiding principles of an Aquinas education is community service. We haven't talked about that quite a bit. The late Paul Haney embodied that ideal. A 1959 graduate, Paul Haney spent his life serving Aquinas in the Rochester community. Graduate of St. John Fisher College, he went on to earn his master's degree in business administration from Syracuse University. He worked a short time in New York City after completing his education before returning to Rochester. He would go on to serve 12 years with the Rochester City Council, another 10 in the Monroe County Legislature, and further as Monroe County's finance director. He didn't stop there. Paul was the chair and treasurer of the Aquinas Board. He was also a member of the New York State Hospital Review and Planning Council, as well as the board chair and treasurer for the Rochester Primary Care Network. For as outspoken as Paul was, when it came to advocating for the city of Rochester and its residents, he said little of his own accomplishments. As his niece Chris recalled, it wasn't until after his untimely passing in June of this year that she and her family found out about today's induction. It took Mike Daly informing her and her family. As Christine said, he would eventually have told us, but that showed just how unassuming he was. For Meritorious service, please welcome, on behalf of his uncle, Mike Haney.
Good evening. I'm Mike Haney, Paul's nephew. Most of you know Paul was an all-star award-winning debater at both Aquinas and St. John Fisher and a terrific public speaker. Unfortunately, I didn't inherit those skills, but I'll do my best. With me tonight to celebrate Paul's accomplishments are Paul's nieces and my sisters, Chris, Sue, Sharon, and Paul's sister-in-law, my mom, Chris. It is a privilege and an honor for us to be here this evening accepting this award on behalf of our Uncle Paul and for sharing this evening with the other honored recipients. As I am sure you are all aware, Paul was a simple man and would have found this honor to be unwarranted, but he would have been deeply touched and moved by the honor of the contributions in this manner. To Paul, Aquinas wasn't just a school of bricks and mortar. It was a set of traditions, of teachings, and a culture of service to others. He was always proud to call himself an Aquinas alumnus. Paul was a family man, and he considered Aquinas part of his extended family. He considered so many of you as friends, and enjoyed and cherished the time that he spent with many of you. Maybe you had a breakfast or a lunch, perhaps a social gathering, or even a play or concert at Aquinas with Paul. Besides his family and friends, Paul's other passions were his Catholic faith, education, and his community, the city of Rochester. He passionately believed in the Aquinas mission of instructing today's youth through the teachings of Christ and how to become an integral and valuable part of the community. He believed education was a lifelong process. His quote upon graduation from St. John Fisher clearly exemplified his belief in religion and education. The quote, "I realize too that the Creator endowed me with certain mental faculties, and it is my responsibility to develop them to the fullest. I don't believe there would be too many 22-year-olds who could have spoken so eloquently and so deeply about their faith and beliefs." Clearly, his years at Aquinas had a significant impact on him. Paul would want to thank his parents for instilling that belief in him at an early age and providing him with a Catholic education, first at Holy Rosary, then at Aquinas, and then at St. John Fisher. His mother Elizabeth and sister Marie were both Nazareth alumni, and his older brother Tom, our father, was an Aquinas graduate in the class of 1948. Paul's involvement with Aquinas was dedicated to his belief that anyone who had the desire for a Catholic school education should be afforded the opportunity to achieve that goal. His active participation in school and alumni events, his various roles on the board, the scholarships he created, were not in an effort to promote his own agenda, but rather in an effort to help others attain that goal and to help Aquinas move towards the future. His whole life was dedicated to fulfilling the ideals that Aquinas stresses in each class, one of service, integrity, morality. And he tried to share those ideals by being a living example of each. Once, when an opponent questioned his integrity, Paul was quick to respond, "I've built a career on credibility," and he had. Paul was a giant in the community and a passionate public servant. His services on City Council, Monroe County Legislator, and multiple board positions at St. John Fisher, Aquinas, Rochester Primary Care Network, and St. Boniface were all undertaken in an effort to give back or pay it forward, and to share his ideals, gifts, and passions with others. He truly wanted to make the world a better place and dedicated his life to serving the neighbors in his community. In everything he did, he always tried to make a positive impact. When we look up the definition of the Meritorious Service Award, it included words like allegiance, dedication, Christian and gospel values, goodness, discipline, knowledge, and giving back to Aquinas and the community. We believe that over the years, and through all of his activities and participation, Paul has continually demonstrated each of those characteristics on a daily basis. So in closing, we'd like to thank President Mike Daly, the Alumni Board, Aquinas Institute, the Nomination Award Committee, and all of his fellow alumni and friends for this honor bestowed upon Paul. We will treasure this always. Thank you all.
Our next honoree, Bob Porretti, used his experience at the national level to assist small to mid-sized companies locally. An Ithaca College graduate, Bob went to work out of school for Haskins & Sells accounting firm. By the early 70s, Bob joined the accounting firm of Castenleiter, Doran, Duran, and Eldridge. It was there that he recognized what he could do for smaller companies. 1985 Aquinas graduate and partner at the EFPR group, Mario DiLuigi noted, it was Bob's holistic approach to consulting that helped him build a firm that now has offices in 6 cities and billings in excess of $25 million. DiLuigi added that Bob has always taken a family approach to his clients, an approach that has made him a trusted guide. Bob currently serves on the Aquinas Institute and Aquinas Foundation boards. Mario, by the way, wanted me to make a point about procrastination. I kind of held off on that in Bob's favor, but he was here on time and everything is on time. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the podium for distinguished career, Bob Porretti.
Thank you very much. Marty, I'll see you on Monday, and we'll talk about that. What an honor. I want to thank the awards committee for selecting me for this honor. Not expected, but certainly very exciting to get this. Received a lot of congratulations from my classmates, and it's really appreciated. I'd like to congratulate all the other inductees tonight, and some of the stories you heard about their accomplishments, and all well-deserving. Now, I got a call from Mike Daly about the award on Monday morning, I believe it was. I'm not a morning person. My partners will know that I can work till 2 o'clock in the morning. If those 8 o'clock and 7 o'clock things are not my thing. Anyway, he called me in the morning and he said, Bob, have you seen your information sent out for the board meeting? We have board meetings on Monday afternoon. I said, well, Mike, I did download everything. I printed all the documents off, but I haven't read anything yet. Well, good. I'm glad you haven't yet because you're going to be inducted into the Hall of Fame for distinguished career. At first, I don't hear too good, and my wife didn't tell you I need hearing aids. I thought he might have said extinguished. So I wasn't really sure, but I felt like Mike knows I'm still working part-time, so it couldn't have been extinguished. So I think the first thing I said to Mike, I waited for a while, and I think I said, wow. Like, wow, what an honor. This is totally unexpected, but anyway. I've had a great career in public accounting. In any career, you have good things and bad things that happen, but overall, it's been a very, very rewarding career. But I have many thanks to give out. The first set of thanks I want to give to my parents who are no longer with us. They taught me life values to live by. They also had the wisdom to send me to Aquinas. There was never any question where I was going to go to high school. Never. And it was a really great move on their part, as far as I'm concerned. And any successes I have had in my career, I can always trace back to their sacrifices and their support. A great role model for me to carry on their traditions with my family who's here as well. The next thank you is to Aquinas itself. They prepared me academically for the next level. They enhanced the life values that my parents were instilling me. They just enhanced them. It was the same thing. What to do and what not to do. And always do the right thing, regardless of anybody's watching. That's when you know you really got the values you should have. The third group I'd like to thank are my partners. They're tables 17 and 9, I think. A number of things. First of all, they understood that that I had a vision for the firm to grow. And the growth vision was not just for the partners, it was for everybody in the firm to succeed. And that's the reason why you grow organizations. Not just for the individuals that own the companies, but for the people beneath them that have aspirations to be where you are at some point. So I always felt growth was critical for our organization. And they supported that, and they bought in. The other thing I will say is that they've allowed me to continue to work in the firm on a part-time basis. I still have an office. And at times they do ask me for counsel, which I appreciate. But their support was critical in getting us to where we are today. The next group I'd like to thank are my 3 daughters. If you raise your hands. Robin, Brooks in the middle with a little 4-year-old, and Jan. I didn't always make all the dinner times like I should have. I think there was a game that they used to play, my wife used to play. There's a little whiteboard inside the mudroom that came out of the garage. And I'd always call my wife and say, I'm leaving in half an hour. That started the whole conversation with my wife and the 3 girls. What time can we really get home? Will it be in half an hour? And the times ranged from an hour to 2 hours. And whenever I walked into the mudroom, the kitchen right up, they'd see me and one would go, yes, I got the right time. But anyway, and I want to thank them for times that I didn't make some of the events. I think I mean a lot of them. I never missed a school concert. I never missed a recital, but there were times when I didn't make some of the events because of client requirements, let's say, or a fundraiser, or maybe a marketing effort that I was engaged in to try to build our practice. And I want to thank them for their understanding of that. And they've been very supportive over the years. Last, but certainly not least, I want to thank one more person. That's my wife of 47 years, Jeanette. To say that she's been supportive of all my efforts over the years is an understatement. She always told the girls when I was MIA at the dinner table, hey, it's gonna work tonight, whatever. She always let me know what events, family event I should not miss. So she made me promise I'd be there on time at the right spot. Planning all our family vacations. If it were not for her, we never would have had a family vacation. And she just forced me to not be the workaholic that I was. In fact, one of her tricks was to, and everything was a trick, she's a skier, and I just got down the hill without talking to her. But the girls were getting to skiing, and she said, you know, we go to this club down in Ellicottville called Hollyman, and Dr. Ron Cortez was here, used to be our host many times when we were single. And she said, you know, we probably should join that club, because the girls are getting to skiing, I love to ski, and I know during tax season, if we don't have a place to go, spend as a family on the weekend, you'll be in the office. And she was right, it probably would have been. And so we did. We made the investment, joined the club, we bought a condo, and spent many of our tax season weekends at Alumnus, enjoying the family. And to this day, our whole family goes down. In fact, one of my daughters and son-in-law just didn't want to place themselves, so it was a great idea and worked really well for our family unit. She was and has been the glue of our family, and I could not have picked a better partner to have a family and to raise a family with. And that's supposed to surprise you, right? Okay. You know, accountants are stereotypes. You know, we don't take risks. We're very conservative people, right? Right? And I was thinking about the football team, 1979. I'm thinking, 1979, that's very familiar for me, 1979. What happened to me that year? How did things happen? First thing is, our third daughter was born in February. I joined a local golf club for business purposes in April of '79. I bought a new house. We needed a bigger house. We bought a new house. We shoveled my mortgage payments in Memorial Weekend of '79. And then to top it off, we formed a new firm July the 1st of '79. Not knowing whether to be successful. You know, we started off with 13 staff and 3 partners, and let's go and see what happens. Now, you might say we took a lot of risk, but that wasn't the real risk. The real risk was I was starting that partnership with a guy who graduated from McQueen. That was the real risk. Right, Bob? That was a real risk. Well, in any event, it really worked out. I think the judges did some good work on that because we really did agree on a lot of things. One of the things we felt in terms of our firm, that we build a team of dedicated professionals. We provide quality service and never ever compromise our business ethics. We want to create a family culture, very much like the Aquinas family. Okay? And both within the firm and also with our clients. I think I heard Mario kind of said something about that. And that was really the culture of our firm, which I think boded very well for our success. And the last part that we were pretty much in unison and very passionate about was any successes that we had, that the partners would share with all the firm members, not just the owners of the firm. And I think under those standards that the firm was successful and continues to be that way. You know, my time at Aquinas was spent understanding that Mom and Dad Porretti would not accept dyslexia more bad than Mom. C's. C's were not an acceptable grade for me. I'm an only child, male child, 2 Italian immigrants, so you know the pressure was on for me. But in any event, pretty much I lived up to that. I was pretty much an AB student, not a St. Thomas drug member. I had one aberration, it was physics. The teacher, his last name starts with an H, I don't want to say his name. He, I think it was the 2nd or 3rd week of school, was a junior. He wanted to show us how electricity was conducted. So we had this little experiment. He had a car battery in front of the room, and he put the wire to a couple of guys in front, a bunch of us to hold hands, and then he closed the circuit with the other wire. Boom! We all got the message. I think he fried my brain for physics, because quite frankly, he lost me at that point. I never got back to square zero. I never flunked a grade ever at Aquinas, grammar school, college. Took the final Regents exam, 56. Oh my God, my father will kill me. Kill me. 56. How could I do? Anyway, signed up for summer schools and go to Marshall for summer school. Week before summer school starts, I get a letter in the mail. Just so happens that the Board of Regents, first time ever in the history of the Board of Regents to that point, determined that the June exam for physics was extremely difficult, and they were going to curve it 10 points. 66. I passed. I felt like Tommy Boy in the movie when he runs down to see he got a D and he finally got out of college. I passed. So I had to convince my dad, because he wanted me to take it over. You can't have a D in your report. I said, Dad, it'll be okay. I'm not going to put a man on the moon. I'm not going to do anything in engineering. Make it happen. So please, you let it go. So that was my one blemish. You know, Aquinas was filled with a lot of fun things. You know, we always relish those bus excursions to metropolises like Hornell, Jamestown, play football there, and those were fun trips. Of course, watching the Bishop bouts every year was always a lot of fun as well. The dances that we used to have, those were fun things to do. The dances were held either at Aquinas, and some were held over at Nazareth. And I can remember the Sisters of St. Joseph being about 6 or 7 of them assembled on the balcony. And when a song came on, if you happened to get a little bit too close between you and your partner, one of the sisters would come down and say, I don't see any space between the two of you. So please. But anyway, it was fun. It was a lot of fun. We had a really great time. We had a lot of characters in our class. And quite honestly, we had some characters who were our faculty. And every year our class has a reunion. The guys at that table over there, you raise your hand, those are my classmates, and we have an annual reunion. We play golf, then after that we have a dinner and some liquid refreshments after that. And we always talk about the things that we were fond of at Aquinas. We talk about the personalities, we talk about some of the pranks. And the thing is, I was watching this past Thursday. All the guys, we don't see each other every week. We don't see each other every month. Some of us only see each other once a year. But it seems like watching the interaction, watching the laughter, you just sense there's a bond there. Whether we see each other once a year or not, there's always that bond. And it's an Aquinas bond. And Aquinas is truly a very special place. And Aquinas has done some things. You heard Kevin talk earlier about how Aquinas can change a life. And it did it for Kevin and it's doing it for other students. So since we walked away from the Eastern Theater 55 years ago, can you believe it, 55 years, as graduates, a lot has changed at Aquinas. The tuition our senior year, I think, was $300. Right, $300? Now it's over $10,000, which is still a bargain. It is still a bargain. I read something about the city school district spends like $22,000 or $23,000 on educating a student who wants to graduate. In any event, back then there were no women in school. I thought when we allowed women to go to Aquinas would be a problem. I thought it was, in hindsight, it was the best thing we ever had to do at Aquinas. The additions that the school has made through Mr. Wegman and Jim Leal and help through Science Wing, and Fine Arts Wing, new field house, new gym, the old gym that we had, we played basketball and we also played intramural sports in there in the mornings. That's gone now. It's a modern library donated by alumni. The football stadium, the Aquinas Stadium, around Richmond Avenue. I'm sure many of you remember that. That's gone. But in its place, we have up-to-date facilities, athletic facilities on campus now. With all those changes, one thing has really never changed. The dedication of faculty and administration for generations to provide a quality education to its students, getting them prepared for the next level. Giving them a value system that is critical to the betterment of our society. And in the tradition of Brazilian fathers, teach them goodness, discipline, and knowledge. It happens every day in Aquinas. And it does change lives. I am on 5 boards right now, including, as you mentioned, the Aquinas School and the Foundation boards. And without anybody who's on the other boards in my mind, I will tell you that I get the greatest satisfaction in my service to the Aquinas boards. I believe it's really important to give back to the community. Always has been and always will be. To my fellow classmates who are here tonight, I want to thank you for taking the time to be here and kind of sharing this with me. But I have to ask you, how did 55 years go by so quickly? You know, when you're graduating from high school and you're thinking about what you'll be doing in 20 or 30 years, you think, oh, it's going to be, it'll take a long time to think of. But when you look back, boy, how quickly did it go by? So I'm going to give you a little bit of a golf analogy to my classmates. We're playing the back nine, and Aquinas didn't teach us how to create time. They just told us how to not waste time. What is really important right now is our family and our friends, and I think also giving back to the community is critical. I think we should live each day to its fullest with those goals in mind. Again, I want to thank you for this honor and this evening, which I will always cherish. In the words of our alma mater, Aquinas evermore.
To know Aquinas and Nazareth Academy is to know the Foley family. Starting with Robert Foley in 1943 and his high school sweetheart, the former Madeline Cook, who graduated from Nazareth in 1942, and continuing to as recently as 2011, 3 generations of Foleys have graduated from both Aquinas and Nazareth. In total, 18 family members have walked the halls at Aquinas and another 5 at Nazareth. Here's the 10th ward. Foley family members have played football, won fighter of the night, served on student council, sold 50-50 raffle tickets. We're not sure about the chief cook and bottle washer responsibilities, but I'm sure they did everything else during football games. They did everything possible to welcome people into the Aquinas community. That welcoming spirit started with Robert, World War II veteran and Purple Heart recipient. As neighbor Nancy Adams recalled, the Foley's home was home to everyone in the neighborhood. And once there, you were part of the family. Nancy recalled how in the 80s, Robert Foley would invite the neighborhood over to watch sporting events on television. Sports was a focus, but it became clear through the night that being together with family and friends was a priority. Maybe the patriarch was a little ahead of his times because that sounds like to me it was a sports bar. I don't think we had any of those in the late 70s, but we got plenty of them now. They probably all started over on Rains Park. That is the same approach the Foleys had continued here with the Aquinas community. Yes, the Foley family is woven into the Aquinas family. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome on behalf of the Foley family, Dan and Joe Foley.
I'm Dan, graduated in 1968 from Aquinas. I'm the oldest of 4 boys. There's 8 years between us. I graduated in '68. Joey in '70, Terry in '73, and Bobby in '76. So it's certainly a great honor to be here tonight and carry on the legacy. As was mentioned, my father is in the Hall of Fame as well. So very, very excited. First of all, I'd like to thank the committee, whoever is responsible for this big day in our family. This is awesome. Never thought something like this would happen. I'd also like to congratulate the other award winners tonight on an outstanding achievement both in the business world as well as on the sports field. First of all, I'd like for everybody from the Foley family, the Cook family, and the Carroll family to stand up because this is a family award. I'd like to see, so would everybody please stand up as memory serves me correctly, the four of us, the four boys, we all had some trials at times, and I think all four of us were suspended at one point or the other. And I'd like to tell you a little bit about what happened to me. My legacy. I don't know who it was my senior year at Aquinas, and somebody stole a fire extinguisher in the hotel. And they emptied the contents of the fire extinguisher out and filled it with water. So we would go around, and I was great in double talking. We would go up to people on a corner and say, hey, could you tell me how to get to Sharonicon Street? And the person who made over and you swim. We thought that was a great idea. And we would get behind cars and we'd spray this thing up in the air. But one day, my senior year, we were on our way to six of us, all dressed in ties, on the way to Aquinas. I said, let's get the fire extinguisher. What a great idea. So somebody's driving my car. I'm on the passenger side. We went up to a bus stop. Six guys with suits on going up Lake Avenue, and this gentleman standing at the bus stop. And we let him have it. He's in a suit. Nice. Then we go back to school. Sitting in school, first period. I never forget it, it was Father Silvetto, and it was Latin. And during first period, I got a call, hey, you'd like to see Dan Foley down at the principal campus. My heart erupted. So I go down there, and they said, and Father Hart was the principal at the time, and he said, all right, tell me what happened. I said, who else was in your car? So my two brothers and some of my other friends were summoned down to Father Hart's office. And I said, now let's have it out. What happened? What exactly did happen? And the Father, I took ownership of it. We went around with the six of us. What happened? What happened? There was one young fella there, senior, and he said, Father, I couldn't believe it. I'm an Aquinas man, and I can't believe that somebody would do something like that. Obviously, he's laughing and making out with the rest of us. At any rate, what I had to do was, Father Hart said, look, you're suspended, and you come back, but you got to go and apologize to this gentleman who's also an Aquinas graduate, that you squirted on the way up Lake Avenue. I'm going to do it. So I left school that day, and I went over to this gentleman's house off of Lake Avenue and said, look, I'm sorry, this is a stupid thing, a young kid did, I apologize, I'm a senior, I want to graduate. This is obviously, I said, if you could call Father Hart and tell him that I apologize to you, I think I can get that to the school. And he said, I'll do that. So I said, okay, next morning, books, school, I go to Father Hart's office, I sit down, and he said, I apologize to him last night. And he said, you never called. I said, what? I said, I was over there on my hands and knees apologizing. Sorry, you never called. You got to leave again. So the next day, the next evening, I called Mr. Graziano, called him again, and said, look, the gate's back to the call. I don't know if that's the truth or not, or whether Father Hart was, but at any rate, what I had to do is go down in those days, down and get my rear end whacked down in the boiler room. I had like 30 whacks, and I'd stand over a chair. And then I did a month of jugs. Everybody knows what jugs is. That's a class. And so that was it. I graduated. I went on to Alfred University, graduated from there. I then went to work for the Genesee Brewery in Ohio, Indiana, Michigan, moved to Cleveland, Ohio. Thought I'd die and gone to heaven. I got a company car, an expense account to buy beer in a bar, and I was right out of college. I was what could be better than this? Then moved to the West Coast. I was with the RC Cola Company on the West Coast. And then I just retired 2 years ago. We live in the Carolinas. Retired 2 years ago from the Coca-Cola Company. So, and the one thing I want to interject is been married 40 years, and got married in Rochester to a girl from Cleveland, and Father Hart, who I brought up earlier, was the father that was the priest that married his daughter. So, it really, so in essence, Aquinas really has come full circle for me, for our family, and I just, from the bottom of my heart, I want to thank everybody for this great distinction and appreciate what Aquinas has meant in our lives. And that's all I have to say. My brother Joe's going to come up and say a few things. Thank you very much.
Driving over here, I was thinking of all the great athletes and coaches and administrators from the school that I was going to meet. Unfortunately, none of them could show up. You know, I was going to be about 3 minutes. When I sat back today and I went to put down my thoughts on Aquinas, and I walked out the front door, dropped them all down the driveway. I got soaked and just dumped coffee all over them. Whatever I can't read my writing. But I think everyone here, you know, thinks about, you know, what it is to be an Aquinas graduate. You know, what I found is the greatest blessing are the lifelong friends that I've had. Aquinas has been with us in good times and bad. Back May 11, 1973, my mother and brother and Brother Jerry and my father were involved in a tragic accident. My mother was killed. In Aquinas, all the Brazilians, all the families were there, everybody stopped by. And I can remember to this day, people walking in there. Being one of 4 boys, he had a lot of mutual friends. He had a lot. My father was in politics, in the fire department. He had a door-to-door dairy business. He had a dairy delicatessen store. So a lot of people came. But when the people came through the door, knowing someone is there just for you. It's something that I cherish forever. And three of these guys are here tonight. These friendships have lasted over 50 years. Bob Biancola, Mike Callahan, Rich Russo, and the best friend I've ever had in my life, Dave Russo. Back this past December, I had quadruple bypass surgery. And the whole school was even praying for me. And these guys showed up, and I was in Buffalo. Reisinger brought me all the way home from Buffalo. To know that there's friends like this, you'll take to your grave. And I want to thank all the teachers that have molded my children's life. And I think that, we've been truly blessed, with the sports, but, seeing how everyone is doing, and looking at them in a barometer that idiot Reisinger can do it, so can I. And I taught him in the mission bouts. He lost about 60 pounds, and I pounded, so I lost. My kids go, "You lost the right?" "Oh, were you drunk?" I said, "Sure, I got drunk after, but But I would like to say this to the Aquinas 79 football team. And I watch you guys play, and I mean this with all the sincerity in my heart. We would have knocked the crap out of you. There was our horse, number 42 in Minnesota. It would take 3 guys to carry this guy. Trust me. We used to do these drills when you sat on your back, and then you went out and pounded each other. Man, we had bloody noses. It was like, it was back in the psychedelic 60s. We had the brush cuts, you were on curfew, There was part of it, our coach just passed away, Bob Mosley. He never had a losing season. And what I remember him saying, it's all hard work that ends when you look up at the score. And really, it's way beyond that. The success of some of the people that have played football for him is astounding. And I don't want to mention anything. People have done very, very well. And what I want to also bring about, there's many people in here in the Aquinas that have prospered, people have prayed for you. And through that prosperity, they bless the Aquinas. I believe you don't become rich. You don't become rich unless you enrich someone else. And those people that have spent their hard-earned money, especially, I look over this, there's nothing worse than a spoiled rich kid. But these guys, the families are sending this money, and they're believing this. And like I say, the greatest friends I've ever had are right in here. Mike Callahan came in and stopped me tonight and said, "Remember our fathers were teammates, and we were teammates, and he had a son who played for the New York Rangers, who was both captains in Tampa Bay, and a hockey player in the Olympics, Ryan Callahan, and he decided to send him to Oakland. So give him a great one. I want to congratulate everyone else. I don't know if we deserve this award before we'll take it. God bless all of you.
Dan mentioned the jugs before. It's going on a few years now. Joe Spiegel and I graduated together in '83. And the more and more discussions I have with former classmates and the guys who were with me in school at the time, it seems like I'm the only one who remembers being in jug. Maybe that's because everybody else is losing their memory and I'm not. But speaking of jugs, he's not here tonight, but the impact that Mr. McGuire has had, my top button is still buttoned. 4 hours later. Can we take him here next year? Make sure of that. The New York State Public High School Athletic Association recently released a report showing that student participation in athletics is dropping. The report cited specialization in sports as one of the reasons for the decline. By the way, this is not happening at Aquinas. I want everyone to note that. Participation in sports is growing at Aquinas. The soccer program, Josh Gleason is happy to say he was almost thinking about having 2 modified teams this year. When he started, he had a varsity and a JV squad. Now he's thinking about 2 modified teams. That's the impact that Josh is currently having. Students choosing that whole idea of specialization is students choosing to focus on one sport throughout the year as opposed to playing on different field competition throughout the year. Perhaps current student athletes could and should look to our final honoree as a role model. During his time at Aquinas, Paul Roland lettered in 3 different sports and went on to play a 4th sport at collegiate level. He didn't just play at the collegiate level. We'll talk about that in a moment. Starting quarterback on the 1976 football team, Paul garnered first team City Catholic League and all Greater Rochester honors. He made the golf team, the varsity golf team, as a freshman, but decided that he could play baseball as a junior and a senior. Oh, I only wish I could have that much talent. A member of the permanent St. Thomas Club, Paul went on to attend Cornell, where he made the lightweight football team as a freshman. And with the encouragement of an assistant coach, went out for lacrosse the next year. Lacrosse. Aquinas was a couple decades removed from having a lacrosse program. Paul didn't just make the team. He played a role in 3 Ivy League championships and made 2 NCAA tournament appearances. He eventually earned Ivy League honorable mention as a senior. Remember, Aquinas did not have a lacrosse program. The well-rounded approach to sports has served Paul well since then. A graduate of the U of R's Simon School of Business, he started with QCI Asset Management in 1987, where he's been since then. He is a member of the Aquinas Board of Trustees and chairman of the Aquinas Foundation, while also serving on the YMCA of Greater Rochester Board. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the podium from the class of 1977, Paul Roland.
Well, somebody's got to be last, I suppose. Just noticed I have a lot of papers here. Just obviously kidding. What a great honor. Again, unexpected, like some of the others have said, and I just feel truly blessed to be here in front of you folks tonight. Really just a little bit overwhelming. I also want to thank the Hall of Fame Committee for all the work that they've done, for selecting me, for all the folks at Aquinas who worked so hard to put this event on. I know it takes a lot of work, and I really appreciate it. Congratulations to all the other honorees. What a list of people. Very, very impressive group of folks. Some of whom I've known for quite a while. Jim Leo, Bob Porretti, some of them I've just met tonight, but really just an outstanding group of people. Something that I'm very proud to be part of. There's one person here on that list I'd just like to say a couple things about, and that's Paul Haney. As Paul said, I've been on the board of trustees of Aquinas for the past 20 years, the entire time serving with Paul. And I will tell you, I have never met a person of greater integrity in my life. Jim said to me before, you know, you didn't always agree with us, you didn't always agree with the decisions, but there was one thing you could be very sure about with Paul and that is that the best interest of our students was foremost in his mind. That was his number one priority. Great man, who very, very much learned those things. Thank yous go out to my folks, my parents. They made sure that all 8 of us, all 8 kids, that we started at Aquinas or at a Catholic school. 4 of the 6 boys did go there. I really wish
wish they could be here. Problem is, they're 94 years old, they live in Florida, and it's just not possible. But, thanks to that little technology right there, I understand we're going to be able to get them a video. And so I just want to say, Mom and Dad, Marty, Tom, John are here with me. We love you to death, and we can't wait to see you. Special thanks goes to my wife, Lisa, who's put up with me for 34 years of marriage, and has always been with me in all my supportive clients. So thanks, honey. I'm so happy to have my kids here. My son, Chris, class of 06, his wife, Sarah, class of 06, along with her parents, Tim and Liz Colgate. Thanks, guys. And my daughter, Stephanie, with her boyfriend, Chris Clinkfield, class of 08. Steph did attend Aquinas, but she had good enough sense, or good enough judge of character, to choose an AQ man as her companion. As I said, 3 of my 5 brothers are here, John, Tom, and Marty. Marty traveled all the way from Memphis to attend the occasion. I really appreciate that. It's great to see so many of my friends. I've come here to share this day with me. It really means an awful lot to see you guys here and to have you come. Even a few of my classmates here, Paul Granelli, Brian Hayes, and Leo, and Joseph. Brian also took quite a trip to get here as well. Really appreciate you guys being here. The last thing I'd like to say is that I think the thing I'm most thankful for is that I reconnected with Aquinas some 20-odd years ago. I was one of those kids who, it took a little time to really appreciate what the school had done for me. And as you go through life, you sort of figure that out in the circumstances that you come in and the things that it's taught you and some of the decisions that it's helped you to make. Being on the board it's been such a great experience because you get to watch the work that gets done in that great institution on a daily basis. The wonderful faculty, staff, and all the volunteers and all the great work that they do is very inspiring. It's been said a few times here, and it's absolute truth to the truth. Aquinas is changing lives. There's absolutely no doubt about it. So I just close in saying, I haven't heard a whole lot of people talking about money. So I'll be the guy to do it. A lot of people in this room are very generous and they give to Aquinas. And I just want you to know the impact that it's having. It is changing people's lives. And I really encourage all of you to continue to do that, to continue to be generous with the school, not with just your money, but with your time and your talents. It's just a phenomenal thing that they're doing there, and I know that I'm going to continue to support it for as long as I'm alive. So once again, thank you very much.
Before we close up, we're going to want to get all inductees to come up front for a photo of everyone together. Any teams that are here together, also if you would come up front to take a photo of everyone together. And in closing here, thank you. Sometimes when you go to Mass on a regular basis, good things happen to you. I attend 7 o'clock Mass in the morning on Sundays. Mr. Sadler, I'm still having a difficult time calling him Dennis after all these years. Dennis Sadler approached me after 7 o'clock Mass one morning and asked me to do this. And I can't thank him enough for this opportunity. This has been wonderful to be in this group and in this room here today. This is a great thing. Pete Noto, I'm going to call you out though right now. Before we close, you think you can do We Are AQ, get that 79 football team up again, and do We Are AQ with everyone. One more time.
All right, everybody on your feet if you love Aquinas. Get together. Hands together. Hands together.